Good evening from Washington. I'm Larry O'Connor, and earlier today in the House of Representatives, the Oversight Committee had a hearing featuring Twitter executives that censored the Hunter Biden laptop story. This was a critically important hearing because we could finally get to the bottom of it. Who made these decisions? Why did they censor this legitimate news story from the New York Post? To give you a flavor of how the questioning went, here's Jim Jordan. Now, he was throwing questions at Jim Baker, who had been a lawyer for the FBI during the Russian collusion hoax, then left the FBI and went to work for Twitter just in time for the 2020 presidential election. And it was his decision to censor the Hunter Biden laptop story. Just a coincidence, of course. But here's how Jim Baker answered Jim Jordan's questions. Watch.
Mr. Baker, you said you didn't talk with the FBI that day. Did you talk to the FBI about the Hunter Biden laptop story prior to then or after that day?
I'm trying to make sure I can answer this question consistent with the restrictions that I talked about in my opening
Simple
statement.
question. Did you
Yes.
talk to the FBI about the Hunter Biden story?
To the best of my recollection, I did not talk to the FBI about the Hunter Biden story before that day.
Did you talk to him after it? You said your
don't
response
recall.
your response is real specific to the chairman. You said, I did not talk to the FBI about the Hunter Biden laptop story that day. I assume that day is October 14th. I want to know if you talked to him on the 13th or before, or if you talked to him on the 15th and after.
I don't recall speaking to the FBI. Sitting here today, I don't recall speaking to the FBI at all about the Hunter Biden matter.
Well, then why'd you answer it the way you did?
I beg your pardon?
I yield back there.
Chair recognizes Ms. Norton.
He seems pretty forthcoming, doesn't he? Yeah, nothing but the truth there. Completely cooperative. What did Shakespeare say about lawyers again? Meanwhile, there was a cathartic moment when Marjorie Taylor Greene, Congresswoman from Georgia, was questioning Yoel Roth, one of the top executives who made the decisions to censor this story and also delete prominent people's accounts, including Marjorie Taylor Greene's account. I mean, who wouldn't want to be in Marjorie Taylor Greene's position as a congressperson questioning face-to-face the person who had silenced her on the social media platform? And MTG, she was enjoying the moment.
So glad that you're censored down. I'm so glad you've lost your jobs. Thank God Elon Musk bought Twitter. And you know what? Let's talk about something a little bit further. It's amazing to me, Mr. Roth, as the head and trust of safety at Twitter, your ability, or should I say inability, to remove child porn. Now, here's something that disgusts me about you. In your doctoral dissertation entitled Gay Data, you argued that minors should have access to Grindr, an adult male gay hookup app. Minors? Really? You know, Elon Musk took over Twitter and he banned 44,000 accounts that were promoting child porn. You permanently banned my Twitter account, but you allowed child porn all over Twitter. Twitter had become a platform.
That's a beautiful moment. I mean, hey, pal, when you were in college, you wrote a paper hoping that little kids would show up on a gay hookup app, and then you let all this child porn on, but you censored my voice. I'm the captain now. That's cathartic. I love that. And then, by the way, speaking of cathartic, here comes AOC. Now, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, who, by the way, is not the chairman of the Mensa committee in the House of Representatives. She was outraged that they were even having this hearing, considering all the other important things. Here, watch.
A whole hearing about a 24-hour hiccup in a right-wing political operation. That is why we are here right now. And it's just an abuse of public resources, an abuse of public time. We could be talking about health care. We could be talking about bringing down the cost of prescription drugs. We could be talking about abortion rights, civil rights, voting rights. But instead, we're talking about Hunter Biden's half-fake laptop story. I mean, this is an embarrassment. But I'll go into it.
Yeah, then we could be talking about civil rights and voting rights. Instead, we're talking about this story where people's First Amendment rights were silenced and election meddling took place, thus eliminating actual lawful votes because, wait, that's a voting right and civil right issue, isn't it? Oh, okay, then let's just move on. But leave it to AOC. She decided to pick a fight with one of our favorite Twitter accounts, Libs of TikTok. Yeah, AOC actually used this hearing investigating the unlawful censorship of certain voices on Twitter to make the case as to why a voice on Twitter should be censored. And she lied. Watch.
Additionally, Ms. Navaroli, are you familiar with the account Libs of TikTok?
I have heard of it from the news, yes.
Mr. Roth, are you familiar with this account?
Yes, ma'am, I am.
Are you aware that from August 11th to August 16th, that account posted false information about Boston Children's Hospital, claiming that they were providing hysterectomies to children?
Yes, I am aware of that and other claims from the account.
And are you aware that this lie was then circulated by other prominent far-right influencers?
Yes.
And are you aware that all these claims, which I have reiterated were false, culminated in a real-life harassment and ultimately a bomb threat to the Boston Children's Hospital?
Yes, I am aware.
And this account is still on that platform today, isn't it?
Regrettably, yes, it is.
Despite inspiring a bomb threat due to the right-wing incitement of violence against trans Americans in this country, because they cannot let go of this obsession with fixating violence and inciting violence against trans and LGBT people, in addition to immigrants, in addition to women of color. This is a party that cannot pick on anyone their own size.
It's passionate and completely false. In fact, Libs of TikTok, which is a very important Twitter account run by Chaya Raichik, she never said that Boston Children's Hospital, it's a children's hospital, let's just bear that in mind, that Boston Children's Hospital was performing gender-affirming hysterectomies on children. What she said was, and I've got the tweet here, that it was for young girls. Young girls. Now, the Boston Children's Hospital says it's only for 18-year-olds, and I know that in Washington, D.C., an 18-year-old is a full-grown adult and probably the dinner date of many 60 to 70-year-old senators from the Democratic Party, but in my world, that's still a young girl. That said, take a look at what Children's Hospital video actually said, specifically on their page. Children's Hospital, watch.
Gender-affirming hysterectomy is very similar to most hysterectomies that occur. A hysterectomy itself is the removal of the uterus, the cervix, which is the opening of the uterus, and the fallopian tubes, which are attached to the sides of the uterus. Some gender-affirming hysterectomies will also include the removal of the ovaries, but that's technically a separate procedure called a bilateral oophorectomy. And not every gender-affirming hysterectomy includes that, and people who are getting gender-affirming hysterectomies do not have to have their ovaries removed.
You know, there's something about this story that doesn't quite make sense. AOC is very upset because that's still up there. The post from Libs of TikTok and all of those articles who've written about it, those posts and articles are still up there. No retractions, no deletions, but it's a lie. Well, you know what's funny is that that video actually doesn't appear on the Boston Children's Hospital website. They pulled it themselves, and all of those articles are still there because it's not a lie. It's accurate. They were promoting this procedure for young girls. You know how I can prove it? Let's watch that video again and ask yourself, does this doctor sound like she's talking to an adult or to a little kid? Watch.
Gender-affirming hysterectomy is very similar to most hysterectomies that occur. A hysterectomy itself is the removal of the uterus, the cervix.
I think that proves the point. Young girls indeed. But listen, this is why these hearings are taking place, and you've got the information. I hope you do with it what you will. There's more to come on O'Connor Tonight.